In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 AR-15s that you should never buy. So if you're thinking about buying an AR-15 rifle, make sure you do not buy one of these 5. Hey! How's it going, guys? I'm here from a gun channel, and today we're talking about the 5 AR-15 rifles that you should never buy. Now, you may be new to AR-15s, or you may have been out of the market for a while, and maybe do you not know what is available right now. And there are some junk rifles out there that frankly, I would never buy myself, and I'm gonna share those with you. So before we get into the video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you're a fan of the Second Amendment and guns in general, make sure you smash that like button. Also, I just want to take a moment real quick to thank everybody who subscribed over the last couple weeks. We are rapidly approaching a significant milestone. It's really crazy, and you guys have been absolutely amazing. So, thank you so much. And if you're not currently subscribed, please consider subscribing because it helps me continue to grow and reach more people. Okay. So number 1 on my list of rifles that you should never buy is any Delton. And I don't care what you saw on TV or YouTube. Delton is complete garbage. I have had nothing but problems with mine since I bought it years ago. And even recently, I was just shooting it at the range and trying to get it zeroed in. And I just couldn't get it to stay on target. So I took it home and I started working on it and making adjustments and tinkering. And then eventually what I found out was that the upper receiver and lower receiver were actually slightly misaligned when they were put together. So the barrel was canted off to one side, and after messing with it for a couple hours, I finally got it to where it shoots accurately. But my point is that shouldn't even be happening. A brand new rifle right out of the box should not require all that work. You should be able to buy it, put a scope on it, and go to the range and shoot it. Now, aside from that, the other thing I will say about Delton is that their customer service is pretty much non-existent. They used to have decent customer service, but over the last few years, it's gone downhill, and I think they've grown too fast. And do you not really care about the quality of their product? And, unfortunately, I just can't recommend them. No. 2 on my list of rifles that you should never buy is the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport. Now, I have a lot of friends who love this rifle and they say it's the best rifle ever. But I do understand what they're seeing that I am not seeing, because every time I shoot this rifle, it shoots way low and I can't hit the broadside of a barn with it, and it's just the most inaccurate rifle that I've ever shot. And I've tried everything to try to get it to shoot straight. I've changed the barrel, I've changed the upper, I've changed the lower. I've done everything I can possibly do to try to get this thing to shoot accurately. And I just get it to do it. And the funny thing is that I've talked to a lot of people who have the same problem, and they've taken theirs back to Smith & Wesson. And Smith & Wesson says everything is fine with it, and they figure out why it unshoot straight. So I just can't recommend this rifle. I think it's junk, and you should never buy it. Okay, no. 3 on my list of rifles that you should never buy is the Bushmaster BA-30. The reason I don't like this rifle is because they use a proprietary barrel nut system. And what happens is that if you want to change your handguard or do anything to it, you can't use standard AR-15 parts. You have to use their parts, because it uses a proprietary barrel nut system. So, basically, you're kind of locked into using their stuff. And that's just something that I don't like. And that's one of the great things about the AR platform is that you can use so many different aftermarket parts to customize it and upgrade it. And Bushmaster just takes that away from you by using a proprietary system like that. And the other thing is that the fit and finish on this rifle is absolutely horrible. The paint chips really easily, There's a lot of machining marks inside the receiver that probably are going to affect the function of the rifle. But it just shows that they didn't put enough time and effort into making a quality rifle. So I'd avoid Bushmaster rifles like the plague. No, for on my list of rifles that you should never buy is the Colt AR-15. You may say, well, wait a minute. Colt is one of the best manufacturers out there, and they make the best AR-15s. Well, maybe they did back in the day. But this rifle is absolute junk. When I first got mine, the trigger was really heavy and gritty. The finish was chipping off of it, and the bolt carrier group was bent, which caused the rifle to jam and not feed properly. And when I took it apart, I noticed that the bolt carrier group was hitting the inside of the upper receiver and gouging it out. So I called Colt and sent it back to them, and they fixed the problem by replacing the bolt carrier group and refinishing the inside of the upper receiver. But after only a couple months of shooting it, the finish started chipping off again, and it looked like absolute junk. So I called them back and sent it back in. And they told me that they were no longer going to fix it and that I needed to send it to the factory. So I sent it back to the factory, and they did the same thing that they did before and replaced the upper receiver and recoated it. But after only a few months, the finish started chipping off again, and it just looks horrible. So I will say that Colt makes some really nice AR-15s, but this rifle is absolute junk, and you should never buy it. A No. 5. On my list of rifles that you should never buy is the DPM's Oracle. Now, the main problem that I see with this rifle is that the safety selector is backwards. So when you put it on safe, it puts it on full auto. And when you put it on full auto, it puts it on safe. And obviously, that's a huge problem. And there have been multiple cases of people getting hurt because of this. And yes, it is marked in the instructions that the safety selector is backwards. But I can see how somebody could overlook that or forget that. And a lot of times, this rifle is sold to less experienced shooters who probably won't even read the instructions. So I feel like that's a big liability. And the other problem that I have with this rifle is that the trigger is absolute garbage. It's incredibly heavy and gritty, and just not a good trigger at all. And again, I'm not sure if it's just the lower parts kit that they use, or what the deal is, but the trigger is definitely horrible. And I've also heard that the customer service from DPMs has really gone downhill over the last few years, and they don't stand behind their products very well, so I would avoid them. If you made it this far into the video, I was trolling by what you like. Comment if you made it this far. Now, there's plenty of other manufacturers out there that make good quality rifles. I would recommend over these 5 that I mentioned in this video. One of my favorites is Daniel Defense. They make some really nice rifles. Another one that I really like is PSA. They make some great rifles at a reasonable price. And another one that I really like is Aero Precision. They make some really nice rifles. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Also, if you haven't seen my other videos on the best AR-15 rifles, make sure you check them out, because I go through some of my personal rifles and some of my favorite rifles and talk about why I like them so much. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, because it really helps me out and allows me to continue to grow. And as always, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget, this nation was built by scholars, and this nation will be maintained by scholars.